You guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, how horrific was this episode? I feel like we do this every week now.
Oh, so at the beginning, we were speculating on the fact that several people had said that it's the worst one, me and my old crew, and we were like, nah, it'll be bad, but like, is this really gonna be episode 3 style? When we hit the credits, and I very much mean hit the credits for specific reasons we'll talk about later, we were like, shit, that's the worst one. Like, it just is. The writing of this is so horrifically awful, and it affects the whole season. This is the episode we were all waiting for answers, and we've got them now.
I mean, it was 50% rehashed storyline anyway.
Yep.
I think that's being generous, actually. It's probably closer to 80%.
I mean, I said about 50%, and like when I was trying to tally up like all of the scenes that they just replayed from a different camera angle, and it's getting into the sort of 50-50 realm, which is unbelievably lazy. You know, that is just how you eat up time. I feel like this whole episode could have been like a 3-minute flashback to get the key points across. You didn't need to rehash everything that we saw in episode 3 to set the stage for this. It's not that complicated. And that's just the beginning of the problems, and that's not even mentioning the absolutely horrific dialogue, the nonsensical character decisions. Even the way the episode opens when everyone's just like walking around, scanning plants with a Wookiee with a metal detector. That's something I never expected to see in Star Wars. And then we've been there for almost 2 months, and Torben is like, so why are we here? I don't understand.
Oh, God.
And his whole motivation is, I want to go home. That's it. No other explanation. Just, so I want to go home.
They're picking up random pieces of grass and putting it into a box and just pressing buttons. I was like, who the fuck wrote this? What? They got a Wookiee with a metal detector. I thought that was so funny.
Put it into the Moss machine. Oh, actually, wait, before
and the machine says, yes, this is Moss.
This is Moss.
High level of Moss detected here. We're just talking about Moss theory. How do you feel about the Moss scanning that went on in this?
Oh, it was great. I think they were trying to find the plot.
They still couldn't find it. I did like the fact that Trinity carried a Moss, which just seemed very appropriate. You know, everyone made the joke.
Good old Carrie.
I know.
I'm still trying to get over how she threw the Wookiee on the ground.
Oh, we'll get that. Don't worry. I love how Torben, right? Because we were just talking about this, how he doesn't actually understand why he's there, even though he's been there for 2 months now.
They didn't explain it to him for 7 weeks.
Do you think this was some kind of test for him? It's like, we're going to test your initiative. Just like, how long will he go before he asks why he's here?
They're like on the ship,
2 months,
leaving Coruscant. He's like, "Why are we doing this?" And they just look at him like, "No, not going to tell you."
Figure it out. It's like,
and then he doesn't understand.
It's like a Where's Waldo puzzle. It's like, you got to figure it out for yourself.
I mean, I'm no military man, right? But I'm pretty sure when you send people off to do things, you give them a briefing which tells them what their objective is, so they know why they're there. I know. Check me out with my crazy military lingo, but that's my understanding at least.
Information. Intel. What are those?
Well, what was confusing was that he didn't understand the whole virgins thing, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, they're like, you need to go home. The council says go home. And then he's like, we have to go kidnap the kids so that we can prove to the council that they are important and we can come home. Like, they literally just said go home. Why are you doing this?
Well, the thing is, they contact the council. Council say don't interfere with this cult, and then they discover the symbionts thing. Tell the council about that.
Yeah.
But they don't. He's just like, yeah, let's go kidnap some kids. And the other 3 very powerful Jedi are like, no, don't go. No, we can't stop you with the Force. No.
Why does he have the attitude as well of like a Vietnam soldier or something, like who just like wants to get out of this hellhole and go home to be with, you know, his family again? Because it's like, you're just on a boring planet, like scanning Moss. Okay, it's not like the most thrilling thing in the world, but like it's not traumatic. Like, that shouldn't be some deep-seated trauma that someone can use against you later in the episode. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say that. Like the nature of this whole thing, I thought was going to provide us that Torben, his fuck up, right? The reason he wants to kill himself. I was like, okay, finally we're getting it. The core trait isn't even I want to go back to Coruscant for something important, something core. I would have thought Star Wars universe, he's got like a problem of attachments that he hasn't properly sorted out yet. Maybe he's got family back there and that he's like, I don't know, it's been too long. Just anything you can try to work with. All they say is he's homesick and that is it. There's nothing about anyone he loves. So all he even says is Coruscant, the planet. Not even a place on the planet.
Maybe he's just really like he's got a takeaway there that he really likes, and he just wants to get back to it or something.
We all have to speculate on it because we're like, where's the character of this character? He just wants to go to planet. And then the bigger problem is for me is that they use that to make him speed off. It's like, oh gosh, he's gonna run himself into some trouble. But he doesn't. He arrives and he's like, I can't get in. And then Soul's like, okay, follow me.
Climb up the
No one
entire
stops
Climb
him.
the tower.
Yeah, I mean, like, because Anastasia, like the idea of getting inside someone's head, using their deepest fears and insecurities or whatever against them as a way to manipulate them, that's not bad. Like, it's been done a million times before, but it's perfectly serviceable as a plot device. But there needs to be something that you can grapple with there. Like if he's got like a dying mother or something back home, or something that he needs to get to, or some deep regret or something that he needs to fix. But it is literally, as you said, Muller, he just kind of wants to go back to Coruscant because he likes it more than here. Because it's that's not enough.
And then, like, if we're doing him first, just he didn't do anything wrong from then on. He went in because the kids are unsafe, and then he's threatened by someone with a big old staff, and then he's attacked by a volley of arrows, and then he's attacked by a mind-controlled Wookiee, and he's wounded. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah, so like all the round all the posts on Twitter have been like, so why did he kill himself again? Like, what is he trying to atone for?
Yeah,
he's probably the least guilty out of all of them, or maybe the Wookiee actually, because he essentially did nothing throughout the.
Well, just when you say the least is like, the most guilty would be Soul, but should he be guilty whatsoever? I think no.
Well, no. There's a good
turned
question
into
here.
a demon.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get to that. Don't worry. Why is a Padawan on this mission? Why are any of them on this mission initially? Anyway, because like at first, this does not seem like a high priority mission. It's literally just a planet where there was a big disaster like 100 years ago, and it should be barren of life, but it's like a thriving
virgins, right?
Yeah. So they reckon there's a virgins there, or it could just be an ecosystem that recovered. Who knows? But like. Your solution is that you have to scan methodically.
How did they miss the building?
Planet. Just deploy a shit ton of probe droids, let them do their work, and if they find something interesting, then they can signal you, and then you send people there, like Jedis and stuff. Why would you send a squad of Jedi, the most elite warriors in the galaxy, to do such a mundane task? It's absurd.
Do you remember when we discussed episode 3, we were talking about how weird it was and how brazen Trinity's lie was, where she's like, we didn't know anybody was here. Turns out they didn't know anybody was there. I was like, how is that possible? That building is like, how did you miss that?
Even if you can't see it with your eyes, which is absurd anyway, like it's got a power generator in it. It's got lights, it's got scanners, it's got like all kinds of like electrical
concentration of life forms.
Oh yeah, concentration of life form. All the kind of things that would show up in a cursory scan. Like this is what you do in Star Wars. You can just scan a planet and it'll tell you if there's life forms, if there's technology, cities, whatever, really quickly. Easy.
Right.
And then made even worse, Soul bumps into it, going in 4 random directions on a planet, and he bumps into 2 children playing next to a tree.
That was lovely.
It's so annoying. Everything.
Don't they have like thermal scanners where they could scan the planet and be like, oh, there's a whole shitload of witches over there. That like one
you could probably
place.
I mean, the script could have accounted for this relatively easy just by saying there's ion storms or something crazy, like, and we can't scan the planet properly, so we're going to have to go down there manually and do it ourselves. Like, okay, it's goofy and it's pretty contrived, but it's something. It's an explanation for why this stuff doesn't show up. But the writers didn't even think of that. They didn't care because none of it matters to them. Like, all this stuff is just not thinking about it at all.
Yeah, and coming back to Torben's lack of backstory, I mean, the show is really missing meat. It has barely any story to cover anyway. That's why they're rehashing things. You could have used character development to help make this meatier.
Mm-hmm. I love this as well. It's got flammable rock as well. That would have come up on a hazard scan.
Oh man, this is such fascinating to compare to episode 3's coverage. A lot of people were saying, May, she got mind controlled more than likely, and the fire wasn't what we thought. We think it's what it is, but it's not what we thought. She wasn't mind controlled, and the fire was exactly a stone fire. That's what it was.
Well, and then she tries to put out the journal, and then she's like, "Oh shit, it's on fire!" She's like trying to put it out.
It's like, oh my god, the thing I said,
yeah,
the thing I set on fire is now on fire. Oh no!
Oh my
I could
God,
have predicted this.
Then she stomps on it, and it's like, "Mama!"
what was Horn Lady intending to do when she said "get angry"? What did she want May to do?
That's
I
my
don't know.
secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
I don't know.
Because it's like saying to a young child, you know, get angry and put yourself in dangerous situations when there's armed Jedi everywhere. Like that just seems like a pretty bad mother decision. You know,
Maybe she has some latent powers when she gets angry. She's like turns into Super Saiyan 2 or something.
I mean, I can get the idea that like these two collectively are a Virgins in the Force if you combine them, and so they do have like huge Force powers, but like they're still children. Like they don't know how to control this stuff. They haven't been trained or anything. So if you just turn them loose and tell them to get angry, like I feel like that's just kind of a recipe for disaster.
It's like,
hey, little Jimmy, go and play in that fireworks factory, and here, you know, take this torch with you just in case you can't see properly.
Like she's rushing out of the room crying, saying, "I need help," because she's set the whole building on fire.
I really wouldn't be surprised if Leslie wanted to put the number of the midichlorians in there for it to be higher than Anakin.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yes.
And they were like, no, we can't do this.
This is the highest, yes. And what I found interesting is that the two moms, it was kind of their character was really mismatched. It's like one of them is very aggressive, one of them is very lenient. And the aggressive lady, it actually doesn't make sense because if she's the one who carried these kids, she's going to be a lot more protective and coddling, but they got that wrong. And then later, the one who's more lenient should be the one saying like, hey, do whatever you want. Whereas the stricter one should be like, hey, be careful, like stay in line, do as I say. So it just, none of that made sense at all.
Yep. No, characterization just kind of goes out the window with this one. And I love as well how quickly characters change their minds. Like, you know, when they're first sneaking into the fortress, and it's great because like Saul literally climbs up a vertical mountain. Like it must have taken him like days to get up there.
Use the Force.
But he eventually gets up there and he like sees everything. And then he goes back. I guess he just climbed back down the thing, which is sure. Reports back to Trinity and the others, and then they go. And her opinion is like we shouldn't all go in at the same time because that's like a show of force, and they might misinterpret that. So I'll just go in or something. And he just pretty much says, "No, the children could be in danger." And then she's like, "No, okay, fine, I'm convinced." And then they all just go in together anyway. Like
it's kind of just odd vibes. Like it feels like they all know more than they should in terms of what they should be worrying about. Instead of they should all just be like, "Huh, there's a structure on this planet that has life on it. Let's knock." They don't even try that. They're just like, no, Keldaka, just break in. Yeah. And we'll just go into the team. It's like, what? I was really confused watching it. I was like, did they ring the doorbell? Is there a doorbell? I don't know.
Only Jabba had a doorbell.
There's no reason to be like antagonistic. It's hello, we visited a planet. Who you got? Because remember, in episode 3, they established that these the lesbian space witches have been running from the Jedi, I think. They're trying to escape them. So
hello, Tyrone.
They're like antagonistic, dude. And so you think to yourself, oh, so that this will be awkward on their side, but the Jedi don't know that. They have no idea who these people are. So they should just be like, hey, locals, how you doing? What's I thought this world was barren. None of the conversation is like that. It's all really fucking odd and stilted. Like, let us test you. Do you have children here? And then I will release your Jedi if you leave this place. Like, how did we get here? Like,
even that conversation makes no, like within a single line, it makes no sense. Where it's like, as Jedi, we have a right to test the children with your permission.
With your permission.
Well, then if you need permission, then you don't have the right. Clearly, that's the definition of a right. Something you can just do.
Yes.
What's also confusing
sorry.
is how they are able to go to this planet because they can sense of virgins. Qui-Gon couldn't sense any virgins. He just ended up on Tatooine. That was more of the will of the Force versus this is like they literally sensed it from. Well, then why didn't Yoda sense it? Did he sense it? Did the council send them there? I don't know.
Or was it just information that the planet had green on it and they're like, could be a virgins here. Go have an inspection.
Like, oh, there's life.
It's funny because I can't get over like when Saul says it because of his accent. Like it always sounds like he's saying virgin. And he's like, I think they're virgins here.
No,
Like,
virgins.
He's just determined to find his virgins.
No, dude. Oh my god. Oh shit.
But it could have
But,
been an interesting mystery, right? Is that you have these Jedi come in cold. They can sense something is off, and they come and they just meet this innocuous group of witches. You have no idea what's going on. It could have been like unfolded over time, but instead it was just they first of all reveal way too much too quickly, and then they just hammer it in over and over.
Yeah.
I think even the fact that the two girls, obviously they're played by the same character, that could have been an interesting mystery too, is that one person commits the crime, they have the same haircut, which ridiculous, but the other person is getting charged for it, and you don't know that they're not the same person. So that could have been a slow reveal as well, where you don't know if you can trust this main character, because at one point she's committing murders, at other point she seems to be a good person and claiming that she didn't commit those murders, and then you could reveal to the audience that, oh, she actually has a twin or something. I don't know, some kind of mystery.
That would work better if she wasn't the main character. Like if someone like Saul or whatever was the main character, and then you were just seeing her from his perspective, and so
Makes
you don't
sense.
necessarily know if you can trust her, you don't know if she's reliable, whatever, and then you can build up a mystery around whether or not she is responsible for it, which I think would be fine. Like you could ask all kinds of questions around that, and then gradually uncover that truth about there being a twin and like all this backstory. But yeah, the whole season is so weirdly front-loaded with information. It essentially tells you everything you need to know within the first couple of episodes, and there's no doubt in your mind, like, Osha has a twin, and she's the one who's actually the evil one who's responsible for all this bad stuff, and there's no ambiguity there about who's good and who's bad. And really, like, even this episode, we got that flashback episode in episode 3 that showed us all this stuff that happened. We kind of guessed the little details about the fact that, like, why the rest of the witches got killed and so on. There was nothing particularly new here. There was nothing in terms of revelations that made anyone go, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. It's pointless, and because the whole season is too front loaded with obvious information, there's no mystery left. It's such a
barely any story to tell in the 8 episodes. It's got the exact same problem Ahsoka had, kind of the same problem all the shows have.